Greetings in the name of the Most High. Once again, we are basking in the glow of a different day. As I said some months ago, the pendulum, it goes so far one way and then it has started to go the other. And we're seeing the continuation of that pendulum. I want to talk about the forces that are involved in the upheaval of the deep state and the incredible miracle of a global awakening. That's the best way I can put it. The one thing I want to report is on Alex Jones. They tried to steal his station, InfoWars, where he's got a big studio, and apparently auction it. And instead of auctioning it, they're in a lot of trouble. They just gave it to one of their buddies, The Onion, because The Onion is broke. I think you know that, right? The Onion is almost in bankruptcy. They have no money to pay for anything like that. They just want to do a satire site. Anyway, so there were people that had money bidding, really serious money, the millions, that were friends of Alex, who would keep Alex going. And apparently those bids, the higher bid wasn't counted. They changed the rules and went with a low bid. Well, that low bid was a no bid because there was no money involved. So the judge went nuts, restored the property to Alex for the time being. And now there's going to be a criminal investigation into these people that have launched this lawfare against Alex. So this is what I mean. But I'm going to try to put it proportionally. Okay. So we have this miracle block, this miracle move across all fronts, not just, the obvious big ones, but across all fronts, including, I have to say this, the new attitude of Trump as compared to when Trump was there in 2016, this idea that they were also paranoid that he was going to, go for vengeance, that he was going to go for, to stick it to people who basically came after him illegally. Well, it's not just so the key word there is illegal. The main thing to understand is it's in a block. Look at it as in a block. So you have this Trump presidency and then all the other elections that went on, despite the Dems cheating every bit as much as I think they cheat in 2020, and they're the only ones who do cheat. So, that's one reason I don't affiliate. I don't want that. I don't want cheating on my conscience. Okay. I don't want war in the Ukraine on my conscience. I don't want to see the United States get nuked because of crazy ego spoiled brats from, the East and West Coast on my conscience. The Democrat Party has become the party of the elites, not of the poor, not of the working class, but of the elite, what I would call the intelligentsia. And they are completely Marxist, totalitarian. They are the collective spoken of in Proverbs 1. So you go to Proverbs 1 and you'll see exactly who they are. But anyway, the reason I know this is a move that is supernatural is because it's not just happening here, it's happening around the world. It's as if people have en masse woken up and said, enough is enough. Once you start abusing the kids, and the other thing I don't want on my conscience, and one reason I don't affiliate with these people is because I don't like, I'm against child abuse because I know what it can do. And of course, we have my late daughter to think is a lesson of what happens to kids. Most of them get killed though before they come of age. The idea that there's 350, well, now they're saying 500,000 kids missing, and that Trump is going to go after them. Well, this is my heart. I want to go after them. I want to get the kid. If there's kids alive still, I'd like to get them, returned to some kind of safety, or to their parents, or to get out of these cages, because they put them in cages. They kill them and harvest the adrenochrome. They share the adrenochrome among their friends and think it's funny. They laugh. There's also cannibalism involved. It's you don't even want to know. I mean, I don't even want to talk about it. Okay, it's disgusting. But apparently, where you want to see where the rabbit hole goes to those depths that are beyond any horror movie. And I don't want to be affiliated with that. So that would also be, and you know who they are. You know who they are. Speaking of a guy that got caught red-handed, John Podesta with the WikiLeaks, as just an obvious, pedophile. And then we had the tape of Podesta torturing a kid, which I put in a song that I had. I forget what it's called, Skippy something or other. But the point is that that's ancient history. When Trump was in office in 2017, he established January as Human Trafficking and Addiction Month, and of course that involves the sex trafficking of children, and it involves also men and women in the slave trade. Now, I don't want that on my conscience, so I don't want to affiliate with people that are doing it. Does that make sense? Can we just get out of the politics for a minute and just look at karma and look at, I don't want to be involved in anything that would hurt children. Say, well, you put oil in your car, you put gas in your car, right? There's blood money there. Well, there may be, but my conscience is clear on that. I've done the best I could. I've been led by the Lord, and it's really very, very simple. Now, are there Republicans that are traffickers? Oh, of course. Or consumers, sure. Yeah, it's not divided just among, those lines. I guess if we could just call that, the elite gentrified of the world gets involved in the human trafficking, gets involved in these death cults of children because it's a requirement of membership. Because if you're involved, then you're guaranteed a certain income, a certain place in life, a place in society. And the reason that is that way is because Satan, who is real, owns all the institutions. And my proof is that he offered Jesus every institution he had control of in the entire world. And he said, they'll all be yours if you bow down to me. They'll all be yours if you bow down to me. So that's something that should be avoided. The weird thing is when you come to America, you realize most of the churches have bowed down to Satan. Most of the institutions, whatever they are, think tanks, car dealerships, the medical establishment, they've all bowed their knee. They're all, they all these people need help, but there's not much we can do. It's like a horse you lead to water. There's not much you can do if you try to point out to people you're involved directly in the evil. You're responsible for the evil that's going on here, and you'll be held accountable for it. You need some kind of a legal means to be set free of your problem so that you could actually be a sovereign. But you can't be that sovereign human that God made you to be with this, this accusation, I guess you could call it. But what it really is this being an accomplice to all these crimes and all these murders, and everyone that signs on with this, modern society becomes an accomplice. And you guys who are in that in that category. And no, I don't judge you. We've all been there, but the point is you don't have to stay there. Going into denial and saying, "Oh, I had nothing to do with that." You did, but you did. That was the whole point of that great movie, Angel Heart. Well, I liked it. I was a big fan when maybe no one else was. It got an X rating, but the more hardcore they are, the better I like them. Anyway, and I don't mean just sleazy stuff. It was pretty heavy when it came down to this guy that was hired by a guy named Louis Cypher. And of course Lucifer, right? Played by Robert De Niro, and then the great Mickey Rourke back in those days was really quite the handsome kid. He's really something. Anyway, he's a detective by the name of Harry Angel, hence the title. And he's hired by Mr. Louis Cypher, Mr. Cypher, to go find who's doing these murders of these various people. So he takes off on his detective detail, and he finds all these murders are connected, and they all lead to one place. And eventually that leads all the way back to Mr. Louis Cypher himself, where, he's starts to have a breakdown. He starts to realize there's something very wrong with this case. And then eventually it's like, you're not Harry Angel. You're Johnny Favorite. Johnny, you killed all those people. And no, I didn't do what you said. I didn't do it. Oh, but you did. Under my guidance, of course. And that's one of those moments that I'll be teaching about in the screenwriting class, that a movie is a series of moments. You can look at all the structure of the old Sid Field books and how to write a screenplay book and all that, and structure is very important. We're used to 3-act structure in our DNA. And I believe that all the storytelling is in the DNA. But anyway, in this particular case, that scene, that pivotal scene, we call that the moment of recognition in drama, the moment of recognition, which is also the black moment at the end of Act 2. So he realizes that he is really Johnny, and he sacrificed. And how did he become Harry Angel? He sacrificed a guy after the war in Times Square and his name was Harry Angel, and he took his identity. And so for years he's been living as Harry Angel, when that was the boy or the young man that he sacrificed. And then he wolfed. They said he wolfed that heart down. He killed him, and then he tore his heart out and ate it. And so he became. He went from Johnny Favorite to Harry Angel, but yet he did not escape. And of course, this drew the keen interest of Lucifer himself, who decided to, drive him to the brink of that moment of recognition, to realize that what he says is, Johnny, from the minute you started this, from the minute you laid your hands on that boy, on that kid, whatever, you are mine, and your soul is mine. A lot of people think, well, is that the stuff of legend? Is that the stuff of fairy tales, mythology? And the answer is, well, that is, but the system that rules the world, i.e. the satanic system, has been, the consistent system the whole time. So you don't have any place of solace. What you have is awareness. And then what you have is prayer. And, you have the non-fallen angels and Jesus and so forth, the kingdom, to fight on your behalf. When it comes to them trying to take you, what they're trying to do is take your soul and offer you the world, your place in life, in exchange for your soul. And this cautionary tale was just about Lucifer coming to collect what's his. He was owed that soul. Now, had he not killed that kid who was returning from the war in Times Square, had he not sacrificed a human being and ate his heart in a ritual, a satanic ritual, maybe there'd be nothing to talk about. But he did. And then he lived his life like most people. I have nothing to do with that. What are you talking about? Don't you remember what happened? Don't you remember the day you became mine? Don't you remember the day I owned you? Don't you remember the day you lost it all, but you gained the world? You gained your place. You have your little friends who are all dying off now. You've had your run around the track. And I'm here to tell you that, obviously, that the only remedy for that is Jesus. If there were something else, like with Vishnu and Krishna and Shiva and Madame Blavatsky and Gurdjieff and the various the Golden Dawn and Pythagorean secret societies and the philosophers of Greece, if there was something else of an escape anywhere, seeing as how I went on my own sojourn of exploration and whether it be East, whether it be in Buddhism, whether it be in Hinduism, whether it be in offshoots, whether it be in cults, I did it all. I was looking, I even joined the Nam Myoho Renge Kyo thing, and I said, I want to find out about enlightenment here. What am I talking about? Enlightenment is really, to me, an escape from the quote karma of this world that is basically designed to rip souls from the owners of said souls, because there's a legal problem. We're already condemned. You remember yesterday I was talking about the fact that you can't change it. The system is set up the way it's set up, and you can't change it. I can't change it. No one can change it. We can accept it without embracing it. Embracing it makes you a cynic and makes you susceptible and gullible to taking the offer. But you can also accept that it's there and work against it. Obviously, there must be some way out. Just like in Buddhism, you have the Four Noble Truths that say, all life is suffering is the first one. All life is suffering. And the next one is suffering is due to desire. Right? The next one, the third noble truth, is there must be, there must be a way out of the suffering and out of desire. And then the fourth noble truth, the final one, is just very simple. It's the Eightfold Path is the remedy. And it's very similar in a way to the Ten Commandments. And of course, but it was Buddhism. And it's through ethics, through right behavior and mentality, you can get through and escape the karma. See, because they believe in the East that you get reincarnated and you just can't get off the wheel. They call it the Dharma wheel. And you can't get off of it. It just goes round and round and round, sucking souls. And it's really an eternal prison. It seems like quite the punishment if you're, there are billions of people in the East, all suffering from this punishment. And, but but they have one thing right, you know, that this path of vigilance and reasoning and ethics and things like that is the way out, because it leads to truth. Then ultimately one must accept the truth. If Jesus was it, if that's what was left to us, even though Jesus is unpopular because the presses run all day long about how evil Christians are and it's all evil and bad and it's all a myth, it's patriarchy, blah, 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 and blah, stupid stuff. But if that really is true, then you got to stand there and let them throw, rotten tomatoes at you, right? Because unless you want to turn from the truth, but do you want to lose your soul? Because that's what's at stake if you keep going. You're toying right now with the loss of your soul, completely gone. It's a very scary proposition when we all have an equal chance to get the F out of here. Okay, and that's what we're looking for. I mean, I'm looking for that. I've been looking for the exit since I was born. I had every reason to live on in terms of material things, but I've been completely miserable since day one. Because I think I remember my life elsewhere in, where people didn't have things. They didn't need things. You weren't judged by how many things you had and all the other follies that go on here. But that's the one thing. And then, of course, as we embrace evil, we come into the specter of war and mass death. And yes, that can happen and wipe out whole civilizations. And that comes from, only one place: human selfishness and decadence. That's where it comes from. Well, we're going to remain decadent and selfish. So then, now that we know that, what do we do? Well, without the idea of an intervention from outside this situation, there's nothing you can do. There's no human being that can do anything. People could be inspired to do wonderful things, but you can win battles, but not the war. But with the divine intervention, you can do all things. That people might understand what's at stake. I don't even think people care about the afterlife anymore. There is an afterlife or there isn't. I don't think that's really even a concern of people. I think they're just trying to, at this point, after COVID, they're shell shocked, they have PTSD. They're just trying to get through the next week or next month or next year in one piece if they can. And now that things look like they're turning around, and when I say turn around, it's like, yes, but it's not of your making. It's not of human origin. It was always going to be that way. That was always coming. Because you don't get the same day every day, forever. So that was always going to be here. That was always going to be the hope. And people that seek the truth, that's great, because, when you seek truth, you're going to get the real truth, which is Jesus. You're going to get that front and center. And most people will reject that because it's so uncool. They don't want to be around. It's like wearing a Trump hat in the middle of, downtown Detroit or something. It's well, maybe not Detroit, that's changing. But, in a hostile environment. And, people would get killed for less. Due to ignorance. My people perish because of ignorance. They're ignorant people. They're stupid. They're dumb as shit. They can't see what's right in front of their face. It's not about you. It's not about me. It's not about us. But then it is through the eyes of the holy creator. but that's not me. And so you see this this next chance that's coming in. And we go with the Gestalt. The Gestalt means the total. So that's the whole thing. Is all the institutions are quaking and shaking today because they see now that all the shenanigans of the deep state and the oligarchs and the bloodline elites and all the disgusting people and celebrities and the rest of the disgusting people are totally disgusting. It seems like no matter what they try to do anymore, how much they scream at Trump or scream about this, or the big problem with the country is white supremacists are going to kill all the black men or something. All of those things people don't believe anymore because they're just not true. They would lie like that for years and years, and people took it to the bank. Now they're rejecting it. That would only happen if there was there has been a wall of prayer encompassing the globe. And the longer that wall of prayer is in existence, and I say join that wall of prayer, it's basically prayer 2 times a day, right? Morning and evening prayer. And then today is this Shabbat Shalom day, so this would be a good time to pray too. Because that wall of prayer seems to be the fuel that overturns the deep state, overturns the New World Order, because it looks like these guys have all the cards, they got all the armies of the world, they got all the strength and all the money. How can we possibly fight them? Who can fight these people? Who can win? And the answer is even the meekest amongst us can win. And what is winning? Winning is for you to escape from here with your soul intact and resume your journey toward, the everlasting love of the Creator and the understanding of the world that you're in. People have a hard time believing that. What is it now? They have a hard time. Huh? No, don't look at me like that. They have a hard time believing that. What do you do that for? No, I'm not going to play that game. They have a hard time believing that the world could be what it is. And that's why the talk I had yesterday, which is the implacability of human nature, the enforcement of the good versus evil system, which is, the Job story multiplied billions of times. When it looked the bleakest, and I mean, when people were voting, I just thought, well, there's no way this will work out. They hate Trump. They hate anything that's conservative or constitutional or that requires order, that requires some form of, I would say, some form of discernment and self-control to realize that prayer and intention of prayer is enough to change the entire world. And they know that. That's why they want to discourage you from anything to do with Jesus or Yahweh or any of that. They want that gone. They want to prove to you that was all a myth and it's all a patriarchy, and have you focused on abortions. Have you focused on getting rid of the fascist white males? Have you focused on the things they really care about, the earth dweller things? And folks, I am no earth dweller. That's been maybe one of my problems. I'm kind of a daydreamer in a way, but I'm definitely no earth dweller. So they can never talk to me, man to man, whatever. There's no communication because they don't understand, and so they're afraid. They're afraid of something they don't know to begin with. How can someone talk about something they don't, the Bob Dylan lyric? How can you talk about something that you don't know to begin with? Right? You can't. And then the other answer is, and if you knew more, then you would be responsible. And if you're responsible, then you would be convicted. And if you're convicted by the Holy Spirit, outside intervention, then you would be required to change. If you're required to change, you'd have to change your philosophy, your theology. You'd have to look at the world the way it is and then take the heat from the ignorant or throw rocks at you because you know the truth. And so this battle continues. But the good news for now is this fight that's coming up is epic. This fight between Donald Trump and his army, his thing, and that would include the radio to Rogan and Jones and all the rest of them, Elon Musk, and this great fight against the powers that be, which will. If it's a focused fight, they don't stand a chance. They lose. Okay? They lose. The goal was to change the DNA of human. Right? Because they're lizards. And they have to have control of the human race and the human genome. Very important for where they're going to go. But they may not get it. And the reason they may not get it is because this upwelling of the awakening that's going on now, unless it's, if people like senators and congressmen, try to block any of it, it's going to blow up in their faces, and the people will tune out of them, and they will lose their next election. There's a lot of cheating that went on this time, and there's cheating going on right now today. I believe is it Pennsylvania? Yeah. Between Bob Casey and the other one. The other one was reported to have won. And then, Casey wouldn't have it, demanded a recount, had too many votes to overcome, but they magically appeared without signatures, and they're forcing them to count them. They're cheating, but they always cheat. It's part of the platform part of the contract you have as a Democrat is that you're a cheater and a liar and a murderer. And anyone who prefers to live in the world and do what you're told, and then has earned the right to, polish the furniture, whatever. The period we're going into is very dark and very difficult to understand. Now, ordinarily I put on a little song right now, hit the reset button, but I'm going to ask for a little more coffee here. And there's really nothing to worry about. Your souls, though, are the important thing to preserve. You don't want to lose your soul due to ignorance, but then have it really lost at the end of you. And most people don't seem to care. It's the most weird thing I've ever seen. But anyway, we're living in a wall of prayer, of, understanding, of awakening, and everything that they used to do to stop progress, like the Ayn Rand classic, Atlas Shrugged. Everything they're doing to try to stop any kind of progress. And that's the interesting thing. People they call conservative are really builders, and they want to build their way out of this. They will find, the opposition will find themselves with mud on their face, like Onion and all the lawyers and whatever that tried to take Alex's studio. Now, that doesn't mean they won't successfully do it in the future. They may. But for now, I've just witnessed something that there's no way I could have predicted that he would wind up with his studio and back broadcasting by that afternoon. There's no way. There's no way. That's a God thing. Only with God could he get that far.
Hallelujah.
So, that's the bottom line. Everything else is just window dressing. Yeah, you just have to know who you are. No, I know about me that me doesn't really matter, except in the long run and through the eyes of another. I do matter, but I don't matter in terms of my own ego. I don't matter in terms of what I think about the world or the institutions of the world or the various dramas going on. It doesn't, what I think doesn't really matter. What matters is the truth will set you free, but for me, it's only if I abide in it. If I know the truth and I reject it, I'm not free. I'm not free right now in my physical nature. My physical nature has kept me from being, free until that day of death and that day that I leave. But we're talking more and more about death, and we'll be talking about that more in this week, because death is coming to us all. And pity the people that just want to keep the status quo, keep their routine, stay with it, stay the course, and they can't course correct. Feel sorry for them, pray for them. We're all going to have to course correct pretty soon. We're all going to be given the choice, and it'll be a very stark choice. It's either no one else needs to know, but it's a very beautiful director. What am I talking about? I think I went to sleep. What was I? Well, I better get out of here.
There's a million lies whispering in your ear. They're coming through the airwaves, but that's why you are here. This is the time, make up your mind. You can change your world, but first you gotta open your heart and speak the truth inside. Speak the truth. Live your truth. Come on now, speak the truth. Just speak it, speak the truth. For your meaning, what have you gone through? Is the past all it's seeming? Oblivious, it's just us, found in the wreckage of humanity. But what if I told you there's a way to keep your sanity? open your third eye. I say open up your heart and question everything. Divide the light from the dark and be brave, don't just behave. Laugh at the demons in their faces and give your kindness willingly. Keep the bitter roots in their places. Don't lie to yourself, just speak the truth.